Are we slowly witnessing the growth of Willie Green as an NBA coach? I'll let y'all decide.
You must know that first. Can't nothing and nobody fade what we trying to do and what we about to do. Second thing is, we got this game on our level. You understand what I'm saying?
Welcome to another episode of In Space. I'm your host, Chris Connor. Shout out to all the good people that support us here. Birdsall Law Firm, Jägermeister, as well as DraftKings Sportsbook. Also, halftime show. I've been pretty much doing them. I've done every game that the Pelicans have played. Salute to y'all that's been pulling up, interacting, asking questions, and being part of the show. Keep doing that. As I've been mentioning, I'm going to do as many as I can. They typically last about 10, 15 minutes. Pull up. Rock with your boy. Willie Green. I want to talk Willie Green, and I want to talk the coaching staff. Pelicans are currently 4-1. And in that stretch, it's been talking about a lot of other things. You supporting parts, like Matt Ryan, for example, Jordan Hawkins, Dyson Daniels getting a little bit of love. The leadership shown and the consistency and the performances of CJ McCollum dating back to the first moment of training camp, with the way that he's been showing up and playing through sickness and being the healthiest of the group for the most part, but fighting through stuff and really had off to a really good start of the season. And then Jonas Valanciunas, I mean, he's been an Iron Man pretty much as he entered the league, but he's been an Iron Man. He's been one of the few to escape any type of New Orleans injuries. You don't see that be a consistent thing for Pelicans teams. And shout out to JV for pretty much having to be, you got to drag him off the floor, and that's just not happening. Jonas continues to come up and show out, and even if it isn't always the greatest of performances, games like the Detroit game, for example, games like the second half, the third quarter of the Oklahoma City Thunder game showed you what he can offer, even with some of his flaws, as a more of a throwback in this league. So shout out to those two, the constant professionals. But what hasn't been talked about as much, I think, is the coaching staff, Willie Green. And I've seen some things from the staff and from Willie that showed some kind of progression. And I'm curious to what you guys think. Do you guys see progress in Willie Green? Do you see the changes, the improvements in the staff? You can point at some of the set plays, some differences in how players have been used, when the team has been full and when they haven't. A little bit more motion, an emphasis on ball movement, have, a corner three, some easier layups, some easier looks. And you can say, all right, that looks like James Borrego. 100%. Won't argue with you there. But beyond that, whether you give the credit to the staff or you get the credit to Willie, you got to look at some other things that I think has been really interesting. This could just be from the bar or what I've seen so far in the Willie Green era. I think that the vote of confidence that he's given a guy like Jordan Hawkins, even early on, sticking with him through shooting struggles and allowing him to, even if he isn't a lockdown defender, and we've watched him being able to do other things on the basketball floor, but really allowing him to learn out there on the fly, even when it's not given the most individual or team success in the moment. Jordan Hawkins is gathering, I think, very crucial and important minutes. He's being allowed to fail. And you could argue that they don't have a choice right now because of the amount of guys that are hurt, some role players and some important players that aren't available or that haven't been available each game. But either way, you could argue that there are other vessels that maybe Willie could have tried to use versus putting his rookie out there. But it's something that's there, I think, in the mentality of Jordan that connects with Willie and a lot of the intangibles that he brings to where it's just been a really good start. And I think the best start for any drafted rookie outside of Herb Jones that I can really point to in the Herb Jones, but in the Willie Green era, so far. But I mean, there's been some other things here. I mean, I pointed to Matt Ryan. I mean, I thought that it takes some kind of change for, Willie to kind of go away from what, you get the feeling that guys that he trusts, people that are in the building, people that he feels like he can rely on would get minutes over someone who just walked in off the street. So to have Matt Ryan signed for, I think at that point, 2 days or less than 48 hours, and then throw him into game one in the regular season and it pay off, and then stick with him after games in which it hadn't paid off, and just evolving the different shooting lineups that we've seen. I think the, more modern looks, that's a coaching staff thing. I think as at all the rotations that we've seen, you see CJ and Jonas lineups, but they're staggered by Jordan Hawkins and Matt Ryan. Okay. The game against Detroit where Zion and Brandon are both sitting, maybe last year Dyson Daniels would have gotten the start. No, you bring in Matt Ryan next to Jordan Hawkins to, again, give space to your two current and playing or your two current / healthy best players or available best players in Jonas and CJ McCollum. Or maybe in a previous year, Willie would have chosen a more defensive route. No, I think that's been important. I think some of the timeouts, the smaller things, guys, teams go on a run, some of the timely timeouts. It's not just when a team is up, when you're in a crucial situation of the game or allowing a run to happen. Willie's done, I think, a better job of using timeouts in situations or in periods where, hey, you're talking team is up 14, or maybe it cuts down to 10 and he called a timeout there versus, all right, well, let's see how far this avalanche rolls. Now, I think he's growing there. I've heard him be a lot more vocal. And it's not just talking about playing with pace or talking about playing with grit or fighting. It's more, I won't call it micromanaging, but more managing of games, even early on from the start. If you listen, you'll hear Willie a lot more kind of coaching, talking through things, play by play, even when the team is up by a certain amount of points. Talk with Justin about this, them continuing. I think in every game I've seen some form of zone, and they're making this a pattern. I mean, hell, they ran zone on the Golden State Warriors, which didn't last long, but in almost every game they've thrown out some form of zone, 2-3 zone. I think I've seen 3-2 out there. Just giving different looks at teams on that side of the floor. We talked about offensive already, but that matters. Then Detroit game, you're up, I think at that point, 18. You have a stretch where they're running consistent half-court traps with Kyra Lewis and Dyson Daniels putting pressure. One of them ends up creating a turnover. I can't be sure that I've seen that many times since Willie Green has been a head coach or a part of the Pelicans. So that tells me that, he's done some level of self-reflection. And I think that when we talked about how certain players were used, and when we talked about some of the failures of the Pelicans in the past, the coaching staff was one of the things. It just felt like the staff in total could have done a better job of managing certain things. There was some questionable rotation looks. Well, I think the rotations have been, they all don't work, but I think they've done a great job of saving certain players for certain moments, of noticing something is working and going back to it. There's been some things that I could critique, but more than anything, I've seen things where that makes sense. You see Seabrook for the first moment. I thought maybe you might see EJ Liddell with no Zion and no Brandon. Nope. You see Seabrook in the Golden State game, throwing out Kaiser Gates. Maybe they had plans on making a move in which they did for Robinson Earl, but they threw him out there. They threw him out there early. Yo, go out there and make plays. Let's see what you can do. Didn't end up working, but it made sense. They wanted spacing. They wanted shooting, and they've stuck to it. Allowing Jordan Hawkins to play, what was it, 37 minutes. I think some of the adjustments that they've made, and all right, maybe we'll play this way in the first quarter and we'll play more, more plays that start out right outside, maybe baseline sets or pinch post sets, and then they advance on to middle sets and middle actions for whether it be Zion or or Jonas. All right, forward, maybe we'll run 5 out here, we'll run 4-1 here. I think Willie's done a really good job of using whatever he has. And that's just and that's a different conversation by itself. Starting another year where his 2 best players, Zion's missed 1 game. I think Brandon's missed about 3 now. So you're mixing and matching lineups once again, and you were already without Jose Alvarado, already without Trey Murphy, already without Najee Marshall. Larry Nance is laboring. CJ McCollum is sick. And he's figuring it out. The coaching staff is figuring it out. And you look up in the first 5 games, they're 4-1. You have to give Willie Green some credit. The team fighting back from down 22 against the Thunder. I don't know if a team with a coach that they're rolling their eyes at comes back in that game, and they damn sure don't win. So I do agree with Willie Green that you got to view this season as different in different pockets. Maybe 10 games at a time, maybe 15 games, maybe 20 games at a time. I like 10 games at a time. But I would say through the first 5, Willie and that staff, I think, has shown some really good managing and some good improvements that I think bode well beyond what you're just seeing, can bode well through from other guys returning if everyone continues to buy in. So we've been talking about a lot of different individuals. We talk about Warrior and CJ McCollum. We talk about Jonas and his past few games and him being crucial parts of the Oklahoma City win, as well as the of course the Detroit win. And we can talk about Matt Ryan and different individuals that have come in and helped. It's been a lot of team wins, I will say. Different individual, almost everybody comes in and makes points. And again, you can point back to and say, that was crucial. If you're giving the team credit, you got to salute the coaching staff and you got to salute Willie Green. And if this team is going to do anything significant this year, that has to continue and has to progress. And for Willie Green, man, I think that's very important. He's been put in a tough situation with the amount of games that Zion Williamson has played and the amount of games that Brandon Ingram has played. Without him being able to see what that really looks like, just going out there and continuing to progress on his own and finding ways to win basketball games even early in this season is important. And hopefully it continues to grow if this team is ever at full strength for a long period of time. So that's pretty much the show here, man. Shout out to you guys as always. Man, people that's going to be in a building Saturday to get a chance to see, the City Edition uniforms and the court for the start of the in-season tournament, or the Pelicans' first game in the in-season tournament against Atlanta. Man, y'all show up, y'all have a good time. Steal me some merch, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Find a way to get it back to me. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Hopefully the Pelicans continue to win. Go and support these people and go support the folks that is pulling up and suiting up no matter what they are going through, fighting out there for their teammates, playing hurt, playing sick, playing injured, whatever the case may be, putting on for the city. Got to get a word here from DraftKings. I holla at y'all. See y'all soon.
NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball's back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is celebrating with an unbeatable offer. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for throwing down $5 on the NBA. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. You'll start the season with an instant dub. Basketball's more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BOOT. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly for betting just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOT. The crown is yours.